Hi, Risktakers. I'm Emma Herrera, and I'm here with Emma Vega Sosa, Miss Teen Supreme and one of our awesome Risktakers ambassadors. All right, so we're just going to kind of get into this. How are you doing today, Emma?
I'm good. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having
We're
me.
excited to have you. So I'm going to do a fun intro for Emma. We are incredibly excited to have her and interview her today. Our goal is to highlight her journey as the reigning Miss Teen Supreme and an influential local ambassador in her community, sharing her perspective in a way that truly inspires her peers and other young women. So, to start us off,
Yes.
when people hear pageantry, a lot of the times, I'm sure you know this, it's the stereotypical crown, sash, it just like looks and that's it. Looking at your journey, your platform, you've really taken a risk to kind of get out of that box and flip that narrative on its head and show that it focuses on substance, community, and real leadership. So when did you decide that you want to start participating in the pageant world?
Yeah, so it was right after I turned 15, I decided to, take that risk and step into a world that I knew nothing about. I had never done a pageant before, but I thought that it looked fun and that it could be something new. And it was my first time ever stepping into heels and ever stepping into that world. But very quickly, I learned what it was about. And I learned that it was so much more beyond the crown. That yes, you have a crown and sash, but you're more than that. That it's about your community and how active you are in it and your volunteer work and just how you can be a good leader. And I loved it. I fell in love with it.
That's awesome. I can imagine it'd be overwhelming your first time. So what courage, what risk or mindset did you have to put yourself in to kind of, take that step, put yourself out there in that way?
Yeah. So I just really had to be confident and, believe in myself and remember that what I was doing was for a bigger purpose, that it wasn't just to be a perfect pageant queen, but that it was to use my voice to make a difference and to show that we do have a voice.
Yeah, I love that. And for young women watching you today, you're very inspiring. So how do you use your platform as Miss Teen Supreme to show that pageantry in 2026 is not just about surface level perfection and all that, but it's about having a real voice and making an impact in the community?
So I use my platform to, post about my volunteer work and show them how they can make a difference and what they can do and how they can get active in their community. And, I'm always asked, like, what advice would you give to younger girls? And I would just tell them that you don't have to fit the mold that today's society has on us and what they say a beauty pageant is supposed to be about, that they are the standard and that they're perfectly capable of, chasing their dream, and that if I can do it, they can do it.
That's so cool. I love that. If I can do it, they can do it. So behind the scenes, holding a title like Miss Teen Supreme seems like a kind of a full-time commitment. It's a lot of responsibility. You've got appearances, you got community work, you got your photo shoots, you've got high expectations, got a lot of pressure on you. So at the end of the day, you're also balancing school, you're balancing, homework, your life as, as a teenager. And how do you manage all those responsibilities? Like walk us through a day in life of Emma, who's off duty and got calculus.
So for summer, it's been, pretty flexible. I have all day to do appearances and events and all kinds of different things. But for school, I'll just do a regular school day, come home, do as much homework as I can, eat dinner, and then usually head to modeling practice or some type of event. And then the weekends, I'll have my appearances and outreaches. But I try to just, keep those on the weekends and keep the week for school. But if I do have like late nights during school, I do also have late arrivals. So that helps me too if I have like a late night. Yeah. But I feel like I've just found the perfect balance to it both because I love what I do, so it doesn't feel like a chore and it doesn't weigh on me like, oh my God, I have so many things to do on the weekend. It's like I look forward to it.
Late arrival is so nice. I would eat breakfast whenever I had late arrival. That was
I
one
love
time
it.
I think I ate breakfast during school. Such a great time. And what's one daily habit or boundary that you've had to set for yourself to kind of make sure that you're staying on responsibilities without losing too much time for yourself?
One thing I do is, I try to focus on my personal time, put my phone away, keep that boundary of, okay, this is me time or this is time for family, take advantage of that and don't let anything else get in the way.
That's awesome. Do you have like D&D on, like a time where you have?
Yeah, I'll just turn it on.
Yeah, I had to start using that when I was like, yeah, I need to stop. And emails. I love that. That's good. And one of the coolest things about your profile, because I did Instagram stalk you, is that your content is always about uplifting others, and especially in industry and in a world where sometimes that pushes competition and pushes women against each other a little bit. You heavily really lean into the sisterhood and the community aspect of everything. Why is this important for you to focus on community over competition, and how do you use your space to lift up other teen creators such as yourself?
Yeah, so I really try to lean into community over competition and collaboration over competition because in this industry, there's room for everybody to grow and there's enough opportunities to go around for everybody. And so, you know, whether it's girls from school or girls from modeling or girls that I've met through pageantry, we always try to send each other opportunities. Like I'll send girls volunteer work, and I always have girls reach out to me like, hey, what are you doing for this event, or when are you doing this event, or how can I get connected into this runway or with this designer? And so I always try to share, because I don't believe we should gatekeep, and I believe we can all help each other grow and build each other up.
That's amazing. Yes. What kind of volunteer opportunities are you typically drawn to that you typically like to take part in?
Yeah, so I've done a lot of, you know, back to school, or a lot of outreaches for like homelessness or with churches, and just all kinds of different events like that.
Awesome. And you mentioned that you tend to take your family with you whenever you go to these events. Is that like kind of keep you guys close?
Yeah, so we used to actually do, you know, homeless outreaches and events with church even before I did pageantry. That was something that we loved to do and, you know, stayed doing. And my sisters are all very flexible, and they're always along for the ride and willing to just go with me, so that helps too. And I love that they can also enjoy it, and that it exposes them to new opportunities and meet new people.
That's awesome. And speaking of, you know, family, as a title holder, you kind of need a support system to help you, you know, do this and this, you know, advise you, kind of guide you. You know, who's in your corner? You know, your family, your friends, any mentors? What keeps you grounded and reminded of who you are when things get a little bit, you know, cray-cray?
Definitely my family and my church family. You know, my mom and stepdad are always very supportive. Any opportunity I get, you know, they're right there with me, whether it's to fly to Miami Swim Week or New York Fashion Week. They're ready to, you know, take off days and go. And my sisters too, they're very flexible. And my mom too, she helps us a lot. Like, you know, one of my sisters is in full-time gymnastics, and one is a dancer at school while I'm doing pageantry. But, you know, we always try to stay supportive of each other and make time for everybody to have everything they want to do. And my church family too, staying rooted in my faith and, you know, remembering who I am, so that helps.
A very talented family you've got. That must
Thank
be really
you.
exciting.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And authenticity, especially right now, is really important to the younger generations, you know, our generation, other generations. You know, it's really important, especially in marketing, when you're connecting with people. Kind of think of it as AI slop. So you really got to keep that genuineness about you. And it can be a lot of pressure when you're in the spotlight to look flawless and always say the perfect thing. And while balancing, you know, that with the polished public persona can be really tough, especially, you know, when you're still kind of, you know, trying to figure out who you are and everything. So how do you cope with that pressure of feeling like you have to be a perfect role model, especially when you're not feeling yourself?
That is hard. You know, I've had my days where, whether we're trying to film something for a brand or for content, and I have to take so many takes and I'm not feeling it, I just have to remember that at the end of the day, we're all human and we all make mistakes, and that I'm also growing, learning every day, and that it's okay to not be perfect. You know, I like to remind myself of that, take my own advice, and just try to remain confident and just, you know, not worry about it and take it one step at a time.
That's amazing. And when you say like you trying, you know, you don't have to be perfect, how do you kind of keep that mantra with yourself? I mean, you seem like a very perfectionist, which is a very wonderful trait to have, as someone who also has that trait sometimes.
Yeah.
How do you remind yourself that, you know, it's okay to make those mistakes and kind of sometimes forgive yourself, like let yourself breathe, like it's okay. I'm doing okay. I'm doing really good right now. You know, how do you do that?
I feel like when I first started, you know, I was really hard on myself, because as someone who was first starting, I was like, okay, I have to be perfect. I have to show these people that I know what I'm doing. But how I remind myself is just, again, that we're human, and to remember to not be so hard on myself. And my mom helps me too a lot. You know, she'll tell me like, it's okay, you can take it one step at a time. It's okay to not be perfect. You know, we're all human. Yeah.
That's awesome. I feel like a specific kind of a way that you remind yourself to kind of keep that line between, you know, your public persona and that pressure to be perfect, but also that other side of yourself where like, I'm a teenager, I'm doing my best, and sometimes I just kind of want to, you know, relax. Like, how do you kind of keep that line? What reminds you to do that?
I think honestly, my sisters, like I see them and I'm like, I'm just their sister. I'm just a teenage girl. I'm also just, you know, one who just sometimes wants to relax and not have to be so perfect and on all the time.
Awesome. I love that. That's great. It's amazing what you've been able to do.
Thank you.
We'd like to wrap up, you know, our individual interviews with like a little bit of a fun question.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you a fun question. If you were any flower, what flower do you think you'd be?
Oh man, if I was any flower, I would love to be baby breath. I have to say that's my favorite flower.
So pretty.
Yeah.
They make every bouquet like a moment.
Yes.
I love baby breath.
Yeah, I love that they're just like the perfect filler for any flower.
That's so insightful. Oh my gosh. The perfect filler. They complete the bouquet.
Yes.
You complete that. I love that. All right, well, thank you so much for meeting with us.
Thank you for having me.
She's going to come back, but we're going to have someone else join us. But thank you, Emma.
Thank you.